Welcome back to the farm, everybody. It's September 1st. I actually started this video about 3 weeks ago. I was getting the mill all ready, topped off the fuel, checked everything over, and I just turned the camera off. I set the gas can back on the shelf, and next thing you know, I was getting stung by some birds. They built right underneath the shelf. You kind of see the rest of the nest there, but that kind of put a damper on things. I wasn't excited about getting back out here after I got stung a few times. Then we had some other projects come up, so I didn't get back to it right away. Cheryl and I put up a walk-in cooler. I picked one up from an old butcher shop in the area. Closed down and retired, so I got an 8x6, I believe, walk-in. I got that, a little slab put in, and got that set on the slab and built a little roof over top of it. I think you can kind of see it in the background over there. Got that all set up, and today is the first day of bear season. We've been baiting. This is the first time we've had tags in 8 years, I believe, since we threw a tag last time. So we've been busy with that. Other than that, we got two new goats, boys, Chester and Walter, that will be breeding our does here this fall, I'm thinking still. But because of that process, we're going to run out of room. So what we're working on now is building a little pole barn for them to be in this winter. So I'm gonna mill off all the lumber for that. I got some treated lumber from a local mill. A guy sent some 6x6 posts out and had them treated, so I bought some stuff from him, but all the rest of the structure, the rafters and all the lumber for the outside of the building and everything are going to be cut on this mill. So I think a month ago, Cheryl and I cut a big spruce tree off her property that had died back. Limbs were all dead on, needles off, so fairly dried out. But these are the two bigger logs from it. I think this one's 24 inches across, and that one's about 19 or 20. So we'll see how much lumber we get out of it. It always surprises me how many boards come out of one log. Even a smaller log, I always think, I'll get a couple boards out of it, and it ends up being 4 or 5 boards. So we'll get started here. I gotta cut these back. I think when I built my overhead roof and everything for my sawmill, I knew I could cut 16-foot lengths on the saw, but I didn't account for my structure being that long. I wasn't thinking about having to roll the logs on and having my old telephone poles here far enough apart. So they're exactly 16 inches apart, or 16 feet apart, sorry. So 16.4 is what I'm cutting for a log. So it doesn't quite fit, so it makes it kind of awkward to get them in on the mill. So these bigger ones, like this smaller one up front, I can probably get this sideways and get it rolled on there. Those bigger ones, I think I'm gonna have to put a choker chain around them with the tractor and lift them in here so I can turn them sideways and get them set where I want them on the mill. So that's gonna be a little more work, but again, get a lot of lumber out of a log, so it's well worth it to me. Especially the price of lumber right now is high, and I wouldn't be doing a project like this if I didn't have the mill. So with that, we'll get started. The mill's all ready to go. I just put a new blade on it. So get started. I cut these logs to length here. I think that first one's 6 inches too long to cut on the mill, so I'm gonna have to cut some off the end with the chainsaw, and then I'll measure these other ones up and we'll get started making some lumber. Alright, I managed to get the log on the bunk. Cut some slabs off of it, see what it looks like. So we got, looks like 4 2x6s, 16-foot 4, and then we'll get one more out of this board. We'll put this back in the mill, stand it up now, and get one more. It's got a messed up end a little bit there, but we'll still get one decent board out of it, like a 14-footer. So we'll throw that back on it. Alright, this next log is definitely a lot bigger. There's going to be a lot more to handle, so I'm going to cut some of the limbs off and kind of get set up. See if I can get it on the mill here. Okay, wow, this is by far the largest log I ever put on here. I want bigger equipment probably to mess around with logs like this all the time, that's for sure. It's an awful big log, but let's start sawing out and see what we can get out of it. I was worried about that. Couple inches short making it. I'm going to try to roll the log by hand, but I'm guessing I can't. I'll probably have to look up. I didn't think so. So far I am confident what I can say today is cutting these big logs is not the thing to do on this saw. Too much to handle. I'm going to have to cut it in half, probably cut it. It's just too heavy. Too much to work with. I can't roll it. It's just making it a hazard, really. It's time for a cup of coffee. So I'm back from a cup of coffee. Cheryl's going to give me a hand here. Gave it some thought. I think I'm going to try to pick up on it a little bit with the forks, take some pressure off it, and then maybe I can roll it and have Cheryl maneuver it a little bit to get it up against the stock so I can get it squared up on there. Hopefully this will work. We'll see how it goes here. Give it a try. good. All right, finally got it rolled. Another side. I'm going to take some slabs off of this side to try to lighten it up some. And we'll try to roll it one more time here, but see how it goes. It's tough. Like I said, it's super heavy log. It's more than you can handle by hand for sure. All right, with a little help, I think we got pretty close to the square log on here, or square cant. Yeah, it's pretty close to square, so I'm going to kind of mark it out for the lumber I want. And I could start cutting it down to the sizes I need. A lot of times you can use the scale on the saw, but it's easier to mark it out a little bit just so you have a reference as you're cutting. Easy to make a mistake and screw up some boards, so kind of mark it out here. So we'll need some 2x8s on the building. You can see down there, there's some bark areas there, so like the top part of this, probably the first 6 inches down, is going to be shorter boards, because I can't, I'm not going to be able to get full length boards out of those because of that bark on the edge. So I'm going to just go down about 6 inches and figure from there down, probably going to be, or from there up, be shorter boards. It looks like I can get pretty steady 2x8s out of here. From the bottom up, about 7.5 inches there, and I cut them the same as dimensional lumber so that if I do end up buying any lumber, it matches up with it. I know a lot of guys on a mill cut a 2-inch, true 2-inch board, but I'm cutting 1.5 inches and then 7.5 for a 2x8. Just to stay with dimensional lumber measurements. So I think I'll cut a 7.5-inch slab off the whole thing. I'll split it right in half, or almost in half. I'll cut it at that 7.5-inch mark. And then I can start just slabbing off 1.5 inches, 2x6, or excuse me, 2x8s. All the way across this once I roll it on its side. So we'll split it at the 7.5-inch mark, and then we'll have 2 different slabs here. Well, that's it. Other than some struggles with the log, it went pretty well. I ended up with a bit of lumber here. I think I got 15, 16 foot 2x6s, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 2x8s out of that log, or I should say that those 2 logs. I have that smaller log to begin with. There's some other scraps there I'm going to cut some more lumber out of, but I'm not going to put you guys through that. I'll have to reload it on the mill and cut it down again and get some 2x4s and stuff I can cut out of those smaller, those odd-shaped slabs that came off early on the log. Yeah, I guess that's it for today. I'm about wore out on sawmilling for the day. I think 4 hours it took me with flighting that big log, so I think I'll get ready probably to do some hunting this evening. Get ready for that. Yeah, I think that's about it. Clean up my mess here. If you want to see what we're building with this lumber, check back with us. We'll be working on the pole barn for the goats here in the future, and doing some hunting. We're getting into the fall, so until next time, keep on living the good life.